two brothers invented the modern fast food restaurant. They created the system. They designed the kitchen. They perfected the burger. They built one of the most recognizable brands in human history. Then one man walked through their door, and took it all. The McDonald brothers sold their company for $2 million. The man who bought it turned it into a $220 billion empire. And he made sure they never saw a single cent of what it became. This is the story of McDonald's. And it is the most morally complicated origin story in business history. Richard and Maurice McDonald grew up poor in New Hampshire. The sons of a shoe factory worker. They moved to California chasing the American dream and spent years running a modest drive-in restaurant that was doing well but not extraordinary. Then in 1948 they did something that changed everything. They closed their restaurant for 3 months, and when they reopened, it was completely different. They called it the Speedy Service System. The brothers drew their entire kitchen layout on a tennis court in chalk. They tested every movement, every step, every hand reaching for every ingredient. They eliminated everything that slowed a kitchen down. No waitresses, no car hops, no plates, no silverware. Just a small focused menu, burger, fries, milkshake, made faster than anyone had ever made food before. They could serve a customer in 30 seconds. Every competitor took 10 minutes. The McDonald brothers had not just made a better burger. They had invented a completely new way of feeding people. Lines formed around the block from the very first day. In 1954 Ray Kroc was 52 years old. A milkshake machine salesman who had spent his whole career chasing the next deal. He noticed that one small restaurant in San Bernardino had ordered 8 of his milkshake machines. 8. Most restaurants ordered 1. He drove out to see what kind of place needed 8 milkshake machines. What he saw when he arrived stopped him in his tracks. A line of customers stretching into the street. A kitchen moving like a machine. A burger handed through a window in 30 seconds. Ray Kroc stood in that car park and saw not a restaurant. He saw an empire. Kroc went inside and met Richard and Maurice. They were content. They had a great restaurant, a good income, and no ambition for anything more. They had already tried franchising, 8 locations, and it had been a nightmare. Every franchisee changed the menu, lowered the quality, ignored the system. The brothers wanted to protect what they had built. But Kroc had a different vision. He said, "What if I franchise it but keep every single standard exactly as you designed?" The brothers looked at each other. And they said, "All right. Let's try." Kroc threw himself into the McDonald's franchise operation with the desperation of a man who had been waiting his whole life for this moment. By 1957 there were 14 McDonald's restaurants. By 1959 there were 100. Kroc was obsessed, with speed, with consistency, with every single French fry being exactly the same at every single location. But the contract he had signed with the brothers was strangling him. They could veto any menu change. They controlled his decisions. And they were happy where they were. Kroc needed to own McDonald's completely. And he began to look for a way to make that happen. In 1961 Kroc offered to buy the brothers out completely. $2,700,000. Split between them. $1,350,000 each, before tax. It sounded like a fortune. The brothers were tired. They were in their 50s. They wanted peace. So they agreed. They shook hands and sold their name, their system and their future to Ray Kroc. There was one condition. The brothers were allowed to keep their original San Bernardino restaurant. The very first McDonald's. Their home. Kroc agreed. Then he opened a new McDonald's directly across the street from it. And within a year, the original was out of business. There was something else. The original contract had promised the brothers 0.5% of McDonald's revenues forever. A royalty on every single sale. For life. Kroc's lawyer told him, that promise was never written into the legal contract. It was only a handshake agreement. Kroc looked at the paper. Looked at the handshake. And chose the paper. The brothers never received a single royalty payment. Not $1. Of the $220 billion empire that grew from their chalk drawings on a tennis court, they received $2,700,000. And nothing more. Ever. Ray Kroc built McDonald's into something neither he nor the brothers had ever imagined. 40,000 restaurants in 100 countries. 93% of them franchised. the most recognized brand symbol on Earth after the American flag. Kroc became a billionaire. He bought a baseball team. He donated millions to charity. He died in 1984 worth $500 million. The McDonald brothers lived out their quiet retirement on their payout. Richard died in 1998. Maurice died in 1971. Neither man ever set foot in a McDonald's restaurant again after the sale. The system they drew in chalk on a tennis court in 1948 now feeds 69 million people every single day. And their name is on every one of those golden arches. So who really built McDonald's? Two brothers from New Hampshire drew the system on a tennis court, obsessed over every second, invented fast food and built something extraordinary. And one milkshake salesman from Chicago had the vision, and the ruthlessness, to take it to the world. The truth is the McDonald's you know could not exist without both of them. The brothers gave it its soul, Kroc gave it its scale, but only one of them got the credit, and only one of them got the money. History remembers the man who scaled it, but the man who invented it, drew his dream in chalk on a tennis court in 1948, and deserved far more than he received. If you loved this story, subscribe to Zero to Toon, because every week we bring you the real stories behind the world's greatest empires. Some of them will make you cheer. Some of them, like this one, will make you think. Your story might be next.